being genuine people and accepting that maybe this person, like I said, maybe this person likes me for who, or like me for, you know, being a regular person. Instead, they so scared that they're gonna be rejected or they're not gonna be in control of the situation that they got to do something manipulative to control the dynamic between y'all two.
Exactly.
So because they got to try to control the situation, they don't even take the time to get to know you, or you get to know the real, like the real authentic self, because they so sneaky and trying to be conniving, and the same thing, because they basically, that's just like I said before, it's like if you at a workplace, if you got somebody who don't want to do no work, so they'll rather sit around and try to create something to fake like they working.
Right.
To make it look like they busy when they really not. That's the same concept with them. They would rather make it look like they're a genuinely good person instead of just actually being a good person.
Right. And which makes no sense. I feel like it's harder to fake. You know what I'm saying? For me,
right.
It's harder for me to be fake.
Right. And that's the same thing why it's harder to tell a lie than it is to tell the truth. Because you got to remember everything you said before.
Exactly.
Because the person you telling it to is going to remember. Because that's first-hand information to them. So they're going to remember what you said, but you're not going to remember what you said because you just basically bringing that off the top of your head, and you're not going to remember what you said in the story the first time you told it.
Right. And that's how I actually...
remember is basic information.
And that's how I actually started catching her in the lies, because, number one, I would let her talk and get the whole lie out. And then once she got the lie out, it was like, then I started probing her with questions that she wasn't really prepared to answer. You know what I'm saying? So then she would start trying to dance around the question, or either try to avoid the question altogether. And like I said, that's when that's when the first time I ever got the silent treatment from her. You know what I'm saying? That's the first time I ever even realized that, you know what I'm saying, she was the type of person that would give the silent treatment. Because one day it was like we was in the car and I caught her in a lie. And once I caught her in a lie, we was like literally driving down the street. And once I confronted her with the lie, it was like her face just went stone cold, like, and she just went silent. She looked straight ahead, wouldn't look at me, wouldn't say nothing. And like for the rest of the car ride, she just sat there and was just like staring out the window, just quiet. And you know what I'm saying? And it got to the point where I'm thinking like, okay, so you just not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You just not gonna address that, right? You just not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You just not gonna say nothing. So then you start realizing that you're dealing with a child, and you start, you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with, you know what I'm saying, somebody that don't have a level of maturity to just be honest about whatever they got going on. And then once they show that side, it's kind of like, because I remember when she did it, I ended up going quiet too, because she went quiet, and it was just like I wasn't about to, you know, keep trying to fight her in that situation. I was just like, look, all right, it is what it is. I know what you did, and I know, you know what I'm saying, I know, like, I got all of, that's why you have to be okay with not hearing a confession. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to be cool with just knowing whatever the facts that you got on the table, and that is what it is, and you got to be cool with making whatever decision that you're going to make, because they never going to give you, you know, the satisfaction of, you know, being honest with you.
They never going to give you the satisfaction of being honest. They never going to give you the satisfaction of respect. And the same thing, what you just said about her going quiet, is because it's like fight or flight.
Right.
You know, if she was on her game that day, so like if they get off their game, sometimes it's like they can come up with a lie instantly. Right. They got an answer for everything that you asked them.
Yeah.
But then other times they get caught off guard because they didn't think you were going to ask them a question. They didn't think that far ahead to say, oh, well, if he asks me a question, what am I going to say to that?
Right.
All they know is they think that the story that they telling you is the best thing they ever created in their mind. So they going to tell that to you, not knowing that you're a thinking individual, and you're like, well, wait a minute, something about that don't make sense. I
couldn't believe, like, some of the lies, especially towards the end. I'm like, don't you realize, like, I got a criminal justice degree. Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, just in my spare time, I watch the first 48 and all that type of stuff all day long, just for fun. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, um, for her to think that she was just gonna be able to pull a fast one over on me in the way that she did, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of unbelievable that she thought that I was that stupid, and I ain't even gonna say necessarily that stupid, but just that gullible, especially after she had already kind of shown her hand with some of the things that she had done prior. Because like now, like that's the thing, and that's the thing about when you start moving funny. Like once you start raising the red flags, and once you start like alerting yourself and putting a magnifying glass on yourself because you started moving funny. Like at first I was never even looking at her like that because I didn't feel like I had to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I didn't feel like, you know, because I'm like, we both grown, and I'm like, look, if you want to go out here and do whatever, you gonna do it anyway. But
right.
you know, at least had a respect and you know, decency to be decent about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, be decent about what you're doing out here. It wasn't even like they say, it ain't what you do sometimes, it's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. You can be out here moving around real disrespectfully, like she was, or you can move and get the same things accomplished, but move in a more respectful way about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, but when a person show you that disrespect, it's like they don't give a fuck about you at all. They don't care about nothing you got going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's when they show their hand, and that's when I had to pull out. That's when I started realizing, like, nah, this ain't for me. I will never be able to, you know, deal with this person on no type of level, because once you showed me that it wasn't no respect between us, it ain't nothing else for us to talk about. It ain't nothing else left. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah, that's just something that I noticed in that situation.
You think about it, like I said, a genuine person has all the emotions. They have every emotion that you're supposed to have. Narcissists don't have that.
Right.
They're incapable of having emotion because all they're going to do is mirror what you do.
Yeah.
They don't have genuine emotion. They don't feel hurt when they're supposed to feel hurt. They don't feel sadness in a situation where they should feel sad.
Right.
They don't know how to react. Like you said, they got to read the room and figure out, okay, how I'm supposed to be reacting right now, because I don't know. And because they don't know the genuine emotion, they don't care about your emotion.
Yeah.
That
it's
doesn't mean anything to them. You could be standing right there in front of them crying hurt, and they would look at you like, are you finished?
Right.
Because I need something for myself.
Because you inconveniencing them at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
like,
because now they got to sit here and try to make sure you're okay when they don't really care. They just want to put it like this. They want you to be okay enough to do for them.
Right. Right.
So they don't care how your day is. They want, 9 times out of 10, a narcissist will ask you how your day is because they want you to say, oh, my day was good, how was yours?
Right.
Because now it's flipped around onto them.
Yeah.
And it's like, they are incapable of having that type of sincere reaction, sincere emotion towards anything. You know, they don't have that nurturing, loving thing that they're supposed to have towards people they care about.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about anybody but themselves. And what somebody can do to benefit them. That's what they care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you can't benefit them in any kind of way, they're going to discard you.
And that's what's crazy, because, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's one of the things that most survivors of narcissism don't understand, is because we looking at ourselves as the whole person that we are, and we can see our benefits. We can see how beneficial we are to anybody's life that comes across us. You know what I'm saying? We can see, like, listen, I'm not just this one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, they look at you like a toaster, or they look at you like, you know, you the refrigerator, and you know what I'm saying? So they look at you for that one particular thing that they're looking for in you, and it's like you don't even see outside of like how much other value that I have outside of that, because it's like you don't even, you know what I'm saying? You don't even take the time to get to know a person, you know what I'm saying, and to know how much value they actually have. I don't think the narcissist actually ever can see the real value in somebody, because they only look for the one thing or maybe one or two things that they're looking for out of the situation, which is usually something
looking at what
superficial.
out of the situation.
Like, which is usually something superficial, which is usually,
Right.
okay, well, this person gonna look good on my arms, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. Like, especially if you got a little bit of clout behind you, you got a, you know what I'm saying, a little name for yourself or something like that. They want to attach themselves to that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that was a lot of what was going on in my situation, was just like, because I didn't start getting attacked. Like, basically, we was cool. We basically did the friends with benefits thing for the first cycle, and like in our 20s, and then in our 30s, we started, I guess it intensified a little bit more, and I started kind of like thinking maybe I could see myself in a relationship with this person, but
Right.
then she all of a sudden disappeared again. And then the third time around now, like I said, my expectations and everything for just my standards of what a good relationship and all of that has changed. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm getting older, I'm maturing, I'm seeing things that I, want and don't want from a partner and all of that kind of stuff. And now I'm starting to see that she can't really match that. She can't really give me that. So now I'm starting to see through, I guess that mask that she was wearing, like, and once I started seeing through it, I'm like, man, listen, you cool and all, we friends and everything, but I don't see this going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't see this being no more than what it already been all of these years. And we've done this cycle several times, and I don't see me going back through that cycle. And I think like in my mind, I feel like she knew that was coming, because, she had done everything that she could to, I guess, trick me into believing she was this type of person. And now that we have gotten to this particular point, ain't nowhere else for her to go. You know what I'm saying? It's nowhere else for you to go except for you to either commit or leave me alone. You see what I'm saying? But so I think in her mind, it was like, I know I can't commit to this person, so I'm gonna have to leave him alone. But before he leave me alone, I'm gonna drop this baby on him. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure this nigga get me pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So that way, I'll always have some type of access to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And okay, I know that, you know what I'm saying, this is probably over with, whatever the case may be, but at least I got access to him through the baby, and I'll use the baby against him.
When their tricks don't work, that's when when their tricks don't work.
Yeah.
That's when they turn around and it's like, okay, this ain't what I'm doing. What I normally do ain't working.
Right.
Now I gotta go above and beyond and do some extra stuff.
Yeah, I was starting to catch on. Like, I was starting to catch on too much.
Lock it in.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Like with my ex, it was like, you tell me all these years, I ain't trying to get married. It's just a piece of paper, blah, blah, blah. But then we break up, and when we get back together, all of a sudden now you want to be married?
Right.
That didn't make sense. It's either you do or you don't. You feel how you feel.
And that's one thing that I remember Ruben one time, a friend of mine, he was telling me, like, I had just kind of had a breakup, and we was kind of talking about it, and he was telling me, he was like, man, listen, I don't care what you do, if you ever try to go back, it's never going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, the energy just different now. You know what I'm saying? Like, she done probably had other men inside of her by now and all of that kind of stuff. Like, and then I'm like, you absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? You absolutely, like, the whole, what we had before will never be the same again. You know what I'm saying? So I hope, the listeners out there can catch on and realize, like, once you've given a person all that you've got and they still shit on that, they still walk all over top of that, you don't have nothing else to do but to walk away at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that ain't just for relationships either. That goes for friendships and family too. It's like, once y'all have like the falling out when you know that person did you wrong, then the relationship is never the same again.
Right.
You will always look at them like you might try something again.
Yeah. I mean,
always look at them. It's gonna always be that negative energy between y'all. It's gonna always be that tension, and even if you forgive them, you will always feel that.
Yeah.
and it's never gonna be the same as what you had before. I mean, look at how many friends I had when we was growing up.
Right.
That ain't nowhere around right now.
Right.
It ain't because we had no major falling out or nothing like that. It was just like, you know, I noticed what you was doing. I called you out on what you was doing, and what you didn't think I noticed.
Right.
You know, you think I didn't notice your narcissistic behavior. But then when I picked up on it and called you out on it, and you figured, oh, this is just really not working, and I just backed off.
Yeah.
Because I started noticing, and like I said, once you meet one, you might not even know that, you might not know nothing about narcissism. But once you meet one, you start seeing the signs of the next person, and the next person, and the next person.
Yeah, once you get hurt by one, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like once you
encounter and get swept up in that whole tornado of them,
yeah, like
then you started like, okay, wait a minute, you started noticing the signs a lot quicker.
Yeah, because
especially
before
if you know the terms of what a narcissist really is.
Yeah.
You see that a mile away in anybody. Now I ain't gonna say people who aren't narcissists not gonna hurt you. But
hey, nah, you know, it's abusers and all types of
it's that whole sneaky, conniving, and underhanded, and trying to get over on people. That's when you see that's the type of person. And another thing people don't notice when they dealing with a narcissist, look at how they treat the other people that's around them.
Right.
Like if they telling you a story about some time when they got over on this person, or they did this to that person, or this happened between them two. Even though they only telling one side of the story, you listen to what they say they did. They don't even realize when they saying, yeah, so I was telling them and this and that. Okay, you already know that you don't hear the other person's side, but a lot of times they'll tell you the stuff that they've done before in the past to people.
Yeah.
Or a situation that's happened with them in the past. And you sit there like, well, wow, how that happened? Like, what happened with that? Oh, you know, it wasn't really nothing. They don't want to go into details about it, but you just think about how they've dealt with relationships, friendships, different things like that in their past. They don't change that. They don't change how they operate with people.
Yeah, and see, so that's one of the red flags that I missed in the situation that I was dealing with, because you're absolutely right. They will tell you who they are a lot of the times, but how she tried to pass it off in one particular situation, but she was telling me a situation where she had either slept with one of her friends, boyfriends or something like that, or she tried to, something like that. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember, but it was like when I was looking at the situation, and I started asking her like questions about it. Number one, like, why, you know, where did that come from? Like, because it came out of nowhere. She just started telling me about basically a situation that, you know what I'm saying, where she was basically pursuing one of her friend's dudes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if she actually did it. I'm pretty sure she did, you know what I'm saying, knowing her. Like, I'm pretty sure she actually went through with all of that and probably tore her friendship up with whoever, you know what I'm saying, her friend was at that time. But, you know, it was kind of this arrogance behind it, like this pride of like what she had done. And then when I started...
And you know the reason why they do that.
So...
That's why I said, listen to the stories that they tell and how excited they get about it, because to them, that is an accomplishment for them.
Right.
That's they got the trophy, like they won the award for that. So
when,
they going to brag about it.
So look, when she started kind of bragging about it, and I noticed it was kind of like the brag, the you know what I'm saying, it was kind of braggadocious about it. I started kind of like, you think that's cool though? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I started asking those type of questions. Then her tune like immediately switched, and it was kind of just like, oh, but I was in high school. That was just one of them things. Like, man, I was a kid. Like, I would never do that now. And you know what I'm saying? And so she had kind of flipped it on me, and try to make it seem like, well, you know, I've matured so much since then. I was just a kid back then, and you know what I'm saying. And so not realizing like, nah, you still move like that to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, right.
Like,
My thing is,
like they say, a zebra don't change its stripes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. And if you get so excited about telling that story,
right,
it's because that's in you.
right.
That's not something that, oh, yeah, that was when I was young, and why are you even bringing the story up?
Exactly, because it kind of came from nowhere.
Right. Why are you still thinking about that? Because to you, that's one of your accomplishments. That's like you bragging, like if you're saying something like, oh yeah, I was top of my class. Right. You know, you telling how you got the top of your class, you're gonna talk about that with some enthusiasm.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you get excited about stuff that you get off of. Or that you feel like, you know, yeah, I did that. You know, any accomplishments you make in life, you're going to be proud of it. And you're going to talk proudly of it. And with a narcissist, if they get over on somebody, they're going to talk about it. Like, they're going to talk about it like they just won an Oscar.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
It up too.
And the craziest thing about it is, it's like, okay, even the stuff that you are after, even the stuff that you are trying to seek, it's like, you know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, that type of thing. It's like, because, you know, you won what? What did you win? You got over on a good person. You know what I'm saying? You hurt a good person. You hurt probably one of the only people that ever really cared about you in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Probably one of the most genuine people that you would ever come across. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Like, that's what you know what I'm saying? That's what you did. That's what you accomplished. You accomplished being able to say that, okay, I got over on somebody. And that ain't no, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's no accomplishment at all.
Well, see, to them, they would rather have the sense of knowing that they got what they wanted out of the situation than the sense of, I'm with a good person. Right. I'm happy with this person because they treat me right.
Right.
Their bad always outweighs their good, even in how they feel or interact with people. You know, they will pride that. That's like people in relationships who like the drama. Right. Who like toxic situations because they get off on that. That's how they thrive. That makes them excited. It's like a drug.
Yeah, I knew.
It gives that dopamine in them. And they're like, oh man, I just got a rush. I just got a high from that. Let's do that again. I knew that wasn't for me at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I actually told this particular person, I'm like, listen, it seemed like you need a lot of drama. You know what I'm saying? You need a lot of drama in your life, and I ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and leave you sitting right there in that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's basically what I did. And after I had that conversation, I pretty much, like, left it there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, at this point, nothing's being accomplished. You are just doing stuff just to literally try to hurt me at this point for no reason. And now I've gotten to the point where, you know, I've seen who you are now, and I'm not going to let you that close to me no more. So I'm going to just leave you alone. I'm going to leave you standing right where you are. And you can keep on trying and keep on poking and poking and poking. But you're giving me, like, the more and more you are sitting over there and paying attention to what I'm doing, and you keep trying to poke me, and all of that kind of stuff, is the more and more time that you're giving me, you know what I'm saying, on the back end to focus on me and focus on healing and focus on getting past all of the whole situation. And so once I did that, once I, you know what I'm saying, like, once I got to the point of, like, okay, the betrayal happened, and now it's like, okay, I done got past that initial shock and the initial hurt of it. Now it ain't nothing but up from here. You see what I'm saying? Now it's like, okay, and now, again, I know who you are now, and I'm not going to let you that close to me again to ever, you know, be put in a position like that, you know what I'm saying, ever again. So it is what it is. It's like, so what did you really win? A narcissist would try that with everybody they meet. Right. Because they go on, like I said, I was going to post a video about boundaries. Yeah. They go on, anybody they meet, whether they like them or they don't, at that first meeting, they gonna try their hand to see what they can get away with. You might not notice it, but they know what they're doing. It could be something real small, but it's gonna be something that they're gonna do that they can get over on you.
And
Once
see,
they feel like, okay, I got over on them with that one, let me try something else.
I'm gonna tell
They'll
you
keep doing it.
let me tell you a situation, and you know what I'm saying, that happened. So one time, I ended up going out of town, you know what I'm saying, with the narcissist or whatever the case may be. And this is the first time we had ever really done anything outside of like our city, you know what I'm saying, and other than like, you know, just little small outings, we'll run around, go get food, go, you know, little local dating type situation. So this was the first time out of town. So we go out of town, we go to this hookah bar, and you know what I'm saying, we sitting there enjoying our food, enjoying our drinks and all that kind of stuff. Had some wings and all of that kind of, and we just eating our food and everything. And I stepped off to the bathroom, and when I came back, she was kind of flirting with the bouncer. I saw it from a distance, and then when I walked up on it, it was kind of like, oh, that wasn't, you know, we wasn't talking about nothing. He was just saying, and I'm like, why he wait till I go to the bathroom to go do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he wanted to, you know what I'm saying, if he had something to say, he could have said it when I was sitting right here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't,
Right.
Number one, I'm not even that type of jealous dude to where it's like, if I'm sitting with you and dude want to say something to you and you bite, I'm gonna let you bite. You know what I'm saying? It's on you. Like, it is what it is. I just know where I stand with you, and I know what type of female you are, and I know how to deal with you accordingly from there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going, you know, get all, you know, I ain't gonna get my panties all in a bunch about, you know what I'm saying, how you moving out here. That's your choice. You chose to do that. It is what it is. So that's like, you know what I'm saying, the first like real red flag that I caught was that I saw that she was like super flirtatious in that situation. Because, and fellas, like, if y'all are dating somebody, man, walk off to the bathroom, come back a different way to the table and see what's going on, or come back slow to the table, and you know what I'm saying, and just peep how she moving while you, if she all in her phone and all of that kind of stuff, and she know, like, normally when you sitting at the table, she got the phone in her purse or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, she got kids or something, she could literally be checking to see if, you know, everything is cool. But if you see all this extra texting and extra like trying to get a quick message in and all that, man, trust and believe, she probably texting another dude. You know what I'm saying? But in this particular situation, she was in person hollering at the security guard of the venue that we was in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm looking at the situation, I'm like, damn, like, you really just, you invited me out here. You invited me out of town with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? We having a good time. We've been enjoying the night all the way up to this point. And now you're going to like flirt with the security dude in my face. Like, really, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's what we doing. And so, you know, of course, she kind of like, no, it wasn't like that. No, he was just saying this and he was just saying that. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I know what, you know what I'm saying? I've been out here long enough to know what energy look like. You know what I'm saying? When you can see somebody,
you know,
that, you know what I'm saying?
Another thing with narcissists, prime example, like I said, like my ex, everywhere we went, he had to talk to everybody.
Right.
I'm not even gonna say everybody. He talked to every female.
Right.
And it got to a point where I used to say, why do you speak to everybody? I mean, like, they minding their business. It's okay to, you know, if you're walking past somebody, like, hey, how you doing, and keep it moving. But you start whole conversations with people, right, and they looking at me like, ain't that your girl? But he's having a regular conversation, and I'm like, you're just going up to women and talking to them.
Right.
To them, they like, well, okay, so that makes you want to, okay, well, if you're doing this in my face, what are you doing when I'm not around?
Exactly.
Another reason I say that they get, a narcissist gets off on having any type of attention. They want to be the center of attention.
Mm-hmm.
All eyes got to be on them. So when they out and about, they got to talk to everybody because they want everybody to be talking to them. They got to be the loudest one in the room. They got to be, you know, bragging about what they got on. Or, prime example, they got to be bragging about the situation they in. And if they feel like somebody around them is intimidated by it, they're going to say something about it. Just like how your ex did with the situation at my birthday.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they do. They like drama. They like to keep the fire going on something.
Yeah.
Cause like my friend now, I ain't gonna say her name, but remember when me and her were roommates? We were living together, and she was dating a guy who had a girlfriend in the next building.
Right.
We ran into his girlfriend in the 7-Eleven. I never knew what the girl looked like, but she did.
Right. Yeah.
And she's just like, oh my God, there go his girlfriend. I said, wait. She points her out to him.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts laughing, and I'm like, what you laughing for? She's like, gosh, she don't even know I be with her man. I said, you think that's funny?
Right. It's like they get off on that, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And she just kept laughing, but she was getting louder and louder, and she was like, she don't even know. She don't know how he felt about me. And I'm just like, why are you proud about that?
And see, that's
and
the
she
type.
just kept laughing. I said, if that woman hears you, because she kept saying his name and everything, I said, if she hears you and she says something to you, I'm not fighting for you.
And see, that's where, you know what I'm saying? And I was just about to say that. I'm like, a lot of people don't even realize they end up becoming flying monkeys because they be loyal to somebody that's being ignorant. You know what I'm saying? They loyal to somebody that's like, well, this my homegirl, this my I grew up with such and such, but this person is doing stuff like what you just said, and then that girl actually run up on her, and then all of a sudden, because that's your homegirl, you gonna fight, even though you know that person was in the wrong, even though you know that person. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. She even said, so if she tried to fight me, you weren't gonna help. No, I'm not.
Right.
I said, if she knock you right here in this floor, I'm stepping right over top of you because you being ignorant.
Yeah, because you disrespected that lady. She ain't did none of you.
Right. She don't even know you.
Right.
Don't know nothing about you and what you doing with her man.
And see, that's why you gotta have, you know, your own set of values out here. You know what I'm saying? You can't go, you know what I'm saying, with the crowd all the time, because I done seen a lot of dudes, and you know what I'm saying, I done seen a lot of people do stuff that they wind up regretting later because they was just moving on the instincts of like, well, I grew up, that's my man from the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, cuz live on my street, whatever the case may be, and then you start, you know, making moves just off the strength of that, and then you wind up, you know, getting yourself in some type of trouble, you know what I'm saying, because you just try and be loyal, you know what I'm saying? You try and be down with the streets or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the thing, it's like, especially like I said, like you said, they're taking advantage of the fact that, oh, we've known each other for a long time. You my loyal friend. Now, I ain't gonna say, like, okay, you can be loyal in different situations, and they'll feel like, oh, well, you always gonna have my back, so yeah, if I get into something, I know you beat it. Yeah. But I'm not that friend that's going to go along to get along. I'm not that friend that's going to tell you, yeah, go ahead and do that, even though I know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the friend gonna tell you, nah, that's messed up. Don't do that.
Right.
Nah, that's not cool. I wouldn't do that if I was you. You know, I'm not, if you're doing something stupid, I'm going to call you out and tell you you're doing something stupid, because I'm the friend that's going to be your actual friend that's going to give you the truth. Yeah. Now, you have other friends out here who go along to get along with whatever you say and whatever you do because they got that blind loyalty. Then that's when you know you got those flying monkeys. They willing to do and go along whatever you do, no matter how wrong it is.
Yeah.
And then you know you got them up under you, so you're going to use your little minions as much as you can whenever you can. That's why, like, think about it. A narcissist, look at how many people they sweep up in that tunnel.
Yeah.
In that tornado. Every time they doing something, you notice that every time they do something sneaky, underhanded, or something foul, they got to bring multiple people into the equation.
Right.
Who have nothing to do with the situation. They include them in the lie. They bring them in to help them do something.
Yeah.
They bring them in.
They can't do nothing by themselves. That's why, man, I looked at her one day and I was like, man, you a fucking coward. You know what I'm saying? Just like real talk, like, and I meant it. You know what I'm saying? To be like, in a way of like, listen, man, you know what I'm saying? You didn't even have to do all of this and bring all of these people into this situation. You could have literally just sat down and had a conversation with me and just told me what it was. Like I said, I just said it in a couple of my videos that I did on YouTube, and I was like, listen, if she had just come to me and said, "Hey, listen, I want to have a baby, but I don't want to be with you," I might have considered that because of the type of friendship that we had. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I might have, you know what I'm saying, went ahead and considered that. You know what I'm saying? Just off the strength of like, listen, you know, we so cool. We've been getting along for so many years. We've been so cool. There's like, you know, even if we weren't in a full-fledged relationship, we are good friends, and I feel like we could co-parent with. You know what I'm saying? We could at least do that together well. Even if we not in a, you know, a full-fledged committed relationship and all of that kind of stuff, I felt like we would at least be able to be friends enough to get on the same page as far as the child. You see what I'm saying? And it just, you know what I'm saying? But with a narcissist, you can't do that. You can't even do that. You can't. It's no getting on the same page with them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, good at that.
It's no co-parenting. It's no okay, yeah, we're working towards any of the same goals, because it don't matter what type of goal you got, they're gonna go against it because it don't.
You'll never be on the same page with narcissists unless you're a narcissist.
Right.
What they do don't make sense.
Yeah.
What they do is not reality. What they're doing is not how life should be done.
Yeah.
You know, and because they doing it like that, you can't understand it. And then, like you said, a lot of times we might sit there and think we're going to get a rhyme or reason out of why they did what they did.
Right.
We think we're going to get some type of direction or some type of closure. If you're waiting for it, you're going to be waiting. You hold your breath for it, you're going to die. Because they will never be able to tell you why they did what they did.
Oh, yeah.
They will never apologize for what they did. Because in their mind, number one, they don't understand why you're still worrying about it.
In my case, mine didn't even acknowledge what she did. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And if I brought it up, you know what I'm saying, it would be like either ignored. Like if I was to bring up some of the main things that she did to me, you know what I'm saying, especially towards the end, most of the time, like if I ever brought it up, whether it was in text or whether I was in person. In text, she just wouldn't respond. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's when the conversation would just stop. So I started realizing, like, okay, she wants to have a conversation and talk about the things that she wants to talk about. But anytime I bring up anything that, you know what I'm saying, she don't want to talk about, she leave me alone. So I actually used that to my advantage. You know what I'm saying? I started, like, making sure, I'm like, yeah, well, if you hadn't done, you know what I'm saying, or if you know what I'm saying, like I started basically like standing my ground on what I was saying and letting her know, like, listen, none of this would be the way that it is if you wasn't being trifling out here. None of this would be, you know what I'm saying, none of the stuff that we dealing with right now would even be an issue if you wasn't out here, you know, trying to be trifling. You know what I'm saying? And you got caught. You know what I'm saying? Basically, and you got caught. You know what I'm saying?
This is my advice for anybody that come across somebody, especially if you over like the age of 30.
Yeah.
If you start noticing that you meeting people who make stuff harder than it should be, it's like they don't. It's instead of them doing life easy, like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, they will take every avenue to do it the crooked way.
Right.
If you notice that, okay, friendship, all right, it's one-sided, I feel like I'm begging them to hang out, I'm doing this and doing that, 9 times out of 10 they're a narcissist. If you're in a relationship and you feeling like, why does this relationship have to be so hard? Life is not hard. And if you're with somebody who claims they care about you and they're making your life hard, they don't really care.
Right.
And especially if you voice to them, oh, you know, the way you made me feel when I did this, or when you did this to me, you know, y'all having an argument or conversation about something, and you can genuinely see that they really do not care that they made you feel that way.
Right.
And then you just noticing that this just keeps happening and just keeps happening, and you realize, like, why does this have to be so hard?
Yeah. Why
can't we just talk and get through this? Why can't we just do this? Why do we get past something and then we right back here again?
Yeah.
The reasoning is they are a narcissist because they like to have stuff going all the time.
Yeah. and getting on the same page as you don't serve the purpose of control.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
you will never be on the same page with them. You will never.
Like, yeah.
Like, you will literally drive yourself crazy trying to get them to explain anything to you that makes logical sense.
Oh nah, man, listen. All it took for me was one time to get caught up in a word salad conversation with her. I got so frustrated, like, you know what I'm saying? When I started learning what word salad was, I was like, oh, that's what happened in that situation. Like, dang, because this conversation was spinning in so many different circles, and it was like every time that you know what I'm saying, I would box her in, then she'd circle around, then I box, and then she'd circle around, and I'm like, listen, you can't dance around what you out here doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Eventually, I got to the point of like, I'm not about to keep arguing, and that's the point that you got to get to when you're dealing with them. It's like, you got to get to the point where I'm not about to keep arguing with somebody that I know is a fool, number one. And I'm not going to keep arguing with somebody that I know what you did, you know what you did, and then, you know what I'm saying? It's after you know what a person has done, you don't need no other evidence. You don't, man, just keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because I got caught up in that one time with her where the conversation was just kept spinning and spinning and spinning out. And then I realized, like, listen, this ain't going nowhere. And once I realized that this ain't going nowhere, I just stopped even trying. And I don't think I've ever tried to, like, I realized then, and then it was like another time when I got around her family members, and some of her family members brought up some of the stuff that was going on, but they was trying to, like, of course, blame me for it. And then as soon as I spoke up, they all, like, started attacking me, like all of them, you know what I'm saying? All her cousins and all of these, like, number one, you had those flying monkeys that just believed anything she said. So they didn't even, before I even opened my mouth, they didn't like me, you know what I'm saying? But then the ones that was kind of cool with me, as soon as I started like trying to tell my side of what was going on, at least, you know what I'm saying, explain, because if they had never said nothing, I wouldn't have said nothing. But they brought the situation to me, but brought it to me in a way of like, oh man, you know, I heard y'all going through this and I heard y'all going through that, and I'm like, nah, we ain't going through nothing. She putting me through, you know what I'm saying? She going through, like, she's causing this type of shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but because she had already gotten so far in front of the story, they coming to me on some like, oh, well, you know, dang, we heard that this is going on and we heard that that's going on. And then as soon as I would try to rebuttal that or give my side of what was going on, or at least just explain, wait a minute, that's not what happened. They was not trying to hit me. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't. So as soon as I noticed that they wasn't, you know what I'm saying, they ain't want to hear nothing I had to say, I just shut up. I just shut all the way up. And I ain't say nothing else.
It's that blind loyalty. Like, they feel like, oh, well, because we family, I'm always going to have their back, whether they right or wrong.
And I, you know what I'm saying? So right after that, I blocked their whole family. I ain't never tried to explain nothing else to them no more. You know what I'm saying? I never tried. I left it right there because people like that, they don't want to hear your side of the story. They don't care. Right. Exactly.
Their mind is already made up of how they feel about the situation, because what's happening is the story was brought to them first the incorrect way.
Exactly.
So they already had their mind made up and had their emotions and tied into how they felt about the situation already before hearing the other side. And as I said, if you get to the point where you start meeting people and just having a conversation with them or trying to get them to explain something and you feeling like it's, like you say, going in circles and you get frustrated.
Right.
That's because, like you said, they're dancing around the actual truth. And it's like, you feel like you don't know if you coming or going.
Yeah.
And if you get to that, because like I said, it should not be that hard. It should not be that hard for somebody to answer a question.
Yeah.
If they're telling the truth, then there should be no reason why anybody asking them a question about something they just said, especially if you're having a conversation. If you tell me something and I ask you a question about that topic that we're talking about, you shouldn't have no problem answering any of the questions.
Yeah.
But when you start saying up is down and up is down and left is right, and you like, nah, that don't make sense.
Right.
And you ask it another question, and then they just, like you said, tap dancing around what you asking, or adding stuff to it that don't need to be added.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're doing a bunch of stuff, you're doing a bunch of talking, but it ain't making no sense.
Yeah.
You got here with the like you know what I'm saying, the letters all over the place.
Man.
And it ain't making no the sentence structure is off. I don't know what you're talking about. Sound like you're saying a foreign language or something.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even no logic in it. So once I started realizing, okay, there's no logic and there's, so when there's no logic in it, it's no bottom line to get to. It's no, you know what I'm saying? It's no like middle ground to like, okay, to meet on. So once I started realizing like, okay, this just gonna keep on going and going and going and going until one of us either quit or one of us, you know what I'm saying, explode. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like exploding ain't worth it, and then, you know what I'm saying, so quitting is the only option. So it's like, that's when I got to the point. But for them, you quitting is a win for them, because they feel like, well, at least I don't have to deal with that no more. At least they're not talking to me about that no more. And then so from there, once, you know what I'm saying, once she got me to stop talking about it, that's when she just ghosted all together. That's when it was like, you know what I'm saying, that's when the discard pretty much came. The discard came like right after that, to the point where it was like, okay, well, you know, you don't want to conform to my ways, and you don't want to do what I'm asking you to do, whatever the case may be, and you're gonna keep trying to bring up whatever I did to you. So since you're gonna do that, then I'm gonna just discard you, and I'm gonna move on to the next person. You know what I'm saying? And that's what she did. Yeah, and so that's what she did. So after she did that, she like texted me a few weeks later, and it was kind of like trying to heat check me. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to see, I guess, where I was at mentally. Yeah, so I remember my response, like she had said something crazy, and I was like, listen, go out there, because it's like, you think, at that point, I didn't catch her, you know, cheating, or I never caught her like in the act, but you don't have to catch a person in the act to know they moving funny. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to catch a person in the act to know that, you know what I'm saying, obviously it's somebody else in the picture. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as I got that inkling, like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody else in the mix. That's why you moving funny. That's why you know what I'm saying, your energy different. That's why, okay. So as soon as I started putting two and two together that that's what was going on, I was just like, hey, listen, you can go ahead and chase I literally said in the middle of our, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to put it out there in the conversation. Because I was like, listen, you can go out there and chase all the dick you need to chase. You know what I'm saying? Like, just bring my son over here. You know what I'm saying? Bring my son to me on the weekends that I'm supposed to have on. And as a matter of fact, bring him every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Bring my son over here every weekend, and you can go and do whatever it is that you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much how the circumstances has been since my son was born. It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember when I said that, I'm like, yeah, you can go ahead and do whatever it is that you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Bring my son. Literally, her response was, that's fine. I said, dang. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, you a cold piece of work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, I just told you, go ahead, chase all the dick you want to chase. Go ahead, chase all these dudes, whatever you want to do, whatever make you feel better about yourself. And you was just like, that's fine. Like, that's cool. Go ahead, do, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn. But at the same time, I had, you know what I'm saying? I was, at that point, I just wanted my relationship with my son. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
I'm saying they're gonna try to keep the drama going. So even like I said, even with her saying that's fine, she thought that was gonna get a rise out of it.
Yeah.
When you get to the point where you're like, I'm getting off this ride. I'm not going around and around with you no more.
Yeah.
This is what it is, and this is how it's gonna be. So you start showing them that I'm not giving this no more smoke.
See,
like I told you, I just think I just coined this phrase. You keep giving them smoke, they gonna cause fires.
right.
Don't give them no more smoke. You don't give them no more smoke, they can't cause no more fires. They can't burn. They can't put nothing else in your life.
And that's a fact. And I say this. It was another situation that I was thinking about. So one day I was going through my WhatsApp because it was, certain messages that she had sent me that I'm like, listen, if I ever end up in court behind a situation, or if it's certain things that she has texted me or that she has, that I wanted to make sure that I had. So I hadn't been in my WhatsApp in a real long time.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular day, it had been months because I'm literally trying to get over this situation and I had moved on with my life. So I had stopped looking at any of her messages and, I never really did none of that type of stuff, like going through our old messages and all that, other than the purpose of just making sure that I had any evidence that I needed if we ever ended up in court from a situation. So, but outside of that, I never really looked back at our messages and stuff because I knew what happened. You know what I'm saying? I saw the ending of our situation, the way that it ended, and I saw that, okay, this person just ain't right in their head. Then when I started realizing okay, this person is obviously insane, you know what I'm saying? Then I can kind of put context to everything that happened in all of the time that we had spent together in years prior, you know what I'm saying? So once I was able to realize, okay, this person just don't got it all, and as much as as attractive as they might be and all of that kind of stuff, that you can't see mental illness, you can't see it, you can't. So it's now that I see who this person really is and how they really operate and stuff like that, now I don't want nothing else to do with I don't want nothing to do with a person that's moving like that. And right now you moving like that, so I don't want nothing else to do with you. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I literally was able to cut it off. You know what I'm saying? As soon as she started kind of tripping, I just cut it off. And I remember one day I literally asked her, I'm like, Shorty, have I ever chased you? In all the years that we ever dealt with each other, have, all of the off, on again, off again situations that her and I had. I'm like, anytime that you just disappeared or whatever the case may be, I ain't never chased you. I ain't never questioned you, where you was going or who you been with, what you been up to, none of that. I listen, you gonna move how you wanna move. You decided to kill a good friendship, playing a stupid game. You know what I'm saying? When you literally didn't have to do none of that. So now, you know what I'm saying? Now you just out access to me. Simple as that. And that's where a lot of, the survivors gotta get to. You gotta get to the point of doing your best for a person one time and cutting them off once they don't, reciprocate that. And I was just always okay. See, I guess because I had been through a lot of different betrayal situations outside of, just growing up, how we grew up and stuff like that. It was we kind of learned how to thrive in toxic situations from a child. You know what I'm saying? So as an adult, I just knew that when I need to walk away, I walk away. You know what I'm saying? And that's as simple as that. So I never had a problem walking away. I love hard and I wear my heart, you know what I'm saying? I wear my heart on my sleeve. And don't get me wrong, I be, you know what I'm saying, my feelings be hurt when I, you know what I'm saying, when things don't work out, especially if it's somebody that you've invested time and energy and all of that type of stuff with. But I had gotten myself to the point of yeah, that might hurt or whatever the case may be, but I'll let you go and I'll keep it, you know what I'm saying, I'll keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Once you get to a point where you, like you said, okay, it's going to hurt in the grand scheme of things, but at the end of the day, it's that hurt going to go away.
Right.
But if you keep dealing with what they putting you through, it will never go away.
Right.
So it's eventually how I feel right now in the moment, yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to, feel like something I don't want to go through. But once it's over, once I get over that hoop and over that hump, and it's like, okay, I've now crossed over from being hurt by the situation to now I've learned from it.
Right.
Then it's like, then you start thinking about, like, suppose I was still in that situation right now, I was still getting hurt right now.
Right.
But now I'm to the point where I'm over that. So it's like staying in a situation where somebody, like I said, is frustrating, and you know they're constantly doing stuff over and over again to you, and nothing about what they're doing is really genuine, or you see that they doing some type of stuff that just ain't cool. It's like, all right, you know what? I know I care about you, I feel some type of way about you, but I would rather let it go and deal with the initial hurt than to deal with some long-term hurt.
Yeah. And
You
that's
know?
real.
I mean, look at how long I was with my ex.
Yeah.
For years and years, he was putting me through that.
And see, I think that's one of the things, like, I just, because I had a lot of experiences that happened around me, I was able to, like, witness a lot of, like, what y'all was going through. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, it was like, you know, my cutoff game was just a little bit different. So I ain't never really had a problem, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I hurt in the moment of like, okay, dang, you know what I'm saying? I was hoping that situation worked out or whatever the case may be. But it's never really got me to the point where I couldn't move on from the situation and just keep on thriving and keep on, you know what I'm saying? Now, I say this situation was hard in the sense of having my son and my son being involved in it. But if it you know, if it weren't for that, you know what I'm saying, my whole outlook and everything from the situation wouldn't be nowhere the same. But I feel like it's a blessing, because if my son hadn't been born from that situation, I probably would have continued dealing with this person, because it wasn't nothing there that was making me see who this person really was. You see what I'm saying? Like, when she did what she did and brought the child into the situation, that's when I was able to actually see who she was. So before that, I was just like, whenever she would disappear, I was just like, oh, okay, obviously she got, you know, other stuff she entertained, and it is what it is. But once she had the child and started moving, you know what I'm saying, how she like started doing all of the stuff that she did, you know what I'm saying, this was stuff that I didn't see before, because she wasn't attacking me in that manner before. You know what I'm saying? She was probably doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I didn't see. But now it then switched, and it became like, oh, you just being disrespectful right in my face now. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I feel like disrespect is disrespect, whether they do it in your face or behind your back. But, you know, at least with, you know what I'm saying, but them doing it behind your back, it's like, at least you have enough respect for me to try to hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least you tried to, like, you know what I'm saying? But this person, like, you just, like, you putting dudes right in my face, like, you just don't even, like we beefing for real. You know what I'm saying? You doing stuff like we beefing. You know what I'm saying? Like you just caught me cheating or something, and we ain't had nothing. All you did was got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? But you just switched, you know what I'm saying? You just switched on me. Like, and I guess that's the, you know, when they paint you black, like, when, you know what I'm saying, you either all white or all black in their mind. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so look, this joint is an hour long. I'm gonna stop the video right here on this one, but we're gonna do a part 2. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta hang up. We could probably go straight into part 2 on that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna just go ahead and finish this one, because it's an hour long already.